Maybe it has been a long day. Your body can rest now. Let each breath slow, as if the air itself has been waiting for you. Somewhere above the quiet ocean of night, ancient light is still traveling. Patient, unchanged, carrying stories from stars that faded long ago. The universe never truly sleeps. It breathes, softly, expanding and folding like a tide that has no shore. In its rhythm, time becomes a current, not a line to follow, but an ocean to drift within. Every second hums, every silence glows. Even in stillness, everything is moving. Tonight, you will float through that motion between moments that remember and moments yet to come. Close your eyes if you'd like. The night has begun to breathe. Far beyond the quiet horizon, a thread of starlight drifts through the dark, carrying an old memory of a world that once burned brighter. In that soft passage, a figure appears only as an outline against the night. Not a hero, not a villain, but a traveler shaped by curiosity more than by will. He does not speak and does not hurry. The world around him slows until time feels like water. Physicists describe a simple thought that bends the mind with gentle precision. Suppose a traveler moves backward along the timeline to a night long before his birth, arriving in the fragile season when two strangers have not yet met. A small disturbance, perhaps nothing more than a diverted step or an unfinished letter, shifts the meeting that would have become a life. And in that shift, the traveler's own existence falls out of the fabric. This is called the grandfather paradox, the quiet cornerstone of time travel puzzles. Cause and effect no longer stand in a clean line. They face each other like mirrors and reflect without end. If the effect removes its own cause, then who arrived to remove it? And how does the mirror hold an image with no source? Some scientists suggest that nature avoids this tear by weaving consistency into every thread. In that view, events arrange themselves so no contradiction can survive, the way a river curls around a stone and keeps flowing. The traveler may reach the past, but he cannot escape the pattern that already includes his arrival, and his smallest choices slide into positions that preserve the future he came from. Others approach the puzzle as a loop that closes on both sides. The traveler exists because the loop includes his journey, and his journey exists because the traveler was included from the start. In this circle, beginnings and endings trade places, and origin becomes a gentle illusion. The image is simple, and it is enough. A door opens, a breath pauses, a choice lands like a snowflake, and history tilts by the weight of something almost invisible. Even without drama, the stakes feel large because the traveler touches the seam that holds memory to becoming. There is a quieter reading that belongs not only to physics, but to life. Every person carries a version of this paradox in the wish to return and fix a moment, to move a single grain of sand and soften the path that followed. Yet the wish itself is part of the story that shaped the one who wishes, and pulling it out would unmake the one who remembers. Grandfather paradox remains a lantern rather than an alarm, a way to see that time may be a mirror more than a road. What looks forward is also looking back, and the reflection brings comfort instead of fear, because the pattern that holds the stars also holds small lives with the same patience. The traveler stands at the edge of the loop, and nothing breaks. The water only folds and keeps moving. In the dim hush after the thought has settled, the night feels steadier, Starlight continues its patient journey. The traveler becomes a shadow among other shadows, and the paradox turns from problem to lullaby. What began as a question about erasing a cause returns as a reminder that the universe prefers continuity, and that even the softest step is carried by a fabric that will not tear. Beyond the still horizon, light drifts across the quiet fabric of space, carrying with it the same patience that has held every motion since the beginning. Each photon follows a path older than memory, and though its journey seems free, its course is written by the curves of space-time. The universe, it seems, dislikes contradiction. It folds, bends, and adjusts to keep its own balance, the way a taut string hums back to pitch after being struck. Physicists describe this idea through something called the principle of self-consistency, first suggested by Igor Novikov. It imagines that if time travel were ever possible, no traveler could create a paradox. Any event that occurs must already fit within the logic of reality, as if the cosmos itself refuses to tear. A person who returns to the past may touch it, change it, or ripple its surface, but the thread of cause and effect would always weave itself back together, closing every gap left behind. In such a universe, fate is not a chain, but a woven field that holds every strand in quiet tension. Novikov's principle is simple, yet profound. Suppose a traveler tries to stop a certain event, one that defines the course of history. Each attempt would become part of the reason that event still happens. If the traveler tried to prevent a door from closing, perhaps their very effort causes the wind that makes it shut. The paradox dissolves, replaced by a seamless loop of cause that sustains itself. Reality in this model behaves like a craftsman endlessly mending its own design, so that no contradiction can survive longer than a single breath. In this soft order, time stops feeling like a river and becomes something quieter, a loom stretching across infinity. Each decision, each gesture, each thought is a colored thread already woven into the tapestry. Even when one strand trembles, the pattern remains whole. The traveler in the previous story is still there, not as a rebel against time, but as part of its embroidery. He does not break the weave. He completes it, unknowingly maintaining the symmetry that allows his own existence to be possible. This principle carries a comfort hidden within its logic. If the universe corrects itself, then perhaps no choice truly escapes meaning. Every detour and hesitation, every silence and missed word still finds its place. Like a river that seems to wander but never forgets the ocean, the path of time returns all things to coherence. In this picture, nothing is wasted. Even chaos is a note in a larger harmony that we are too close to hear. Some say this idea removes free will, that it turns existence into a script already written. But maybe it offers something gentler, a sense that every act, even one born from uncertainty, belongs somewhere in the greater design. To move through life, then, is to trust the weave, to let the thread hold you as the night holds its stars. And when thought quiets, the hum of the universe returns, steady and low. The thread cannot be cut because it was never separate. It is the same line that draws galaxies into spirals, the same rhythm that slows your breath. What was, what is, and what will be, woven together, waiting, endlessly whole. Somewhere beyond the quiet edges of thought, time begins to fold back on itself. The future does not rush forward, nor does the past retreat. Instead, they meet in a soft curve, reflecting each other like two mirrors that never stop returning the same image. Physicists call this the closed causal loop, a pattern where every event becomes both cause and consequence, where nothing truly begins or ends. In this strange symmetry, a traveler might drop a note in the past, only to discover it later in their own hand. The act of finding it becomes the reason it existed in the first place. The loop closes perfectly, without seams or contradictions, and reality hums in quiet satisfaction. It does not ask which came first, because in the deep order of time, first and last are the same motion seen from different sides. Scientists often describe the universe as self-contained, its history written on a ring rather than a line. Within such a model, information cannot escape its own circle. It only moves through stages of remembering. Light that leaves a star continues to travel forever, a memory in motion. When that light touches the eye of an observer billions of years later, it completes the loop. The star gives birth to the gaze that confirms it ever existed. The universe looks back at itself and finds continuity instead of chaos. Human life carries the same quiet geometry. We live inside small loops of memory, where what we recall becomes what we are. A thought of regret, a face once seen, a word left unsaid, all return in new forms, woven through choices that seem spontaneous but echo the past. Memory itself is a traveler, crossing from what was into what could be, leaving behind shadows that guide us without warning. There is no need to escape these circles. They are not traps, but patterns of meaning repeating until understood. A person forgives, then forgets, then remembers again, each cycle a little softer, each one closer to peace. The past feeds the future reshapes the past, and somewhere in that gentle exchange, consciousness finds its rhythm. Perhaps that is what time really offers, not progress, but continuity. Every action, every silence, every kindness returns in some form, just as a melody echoes within its own harmony. The universe does not lose what it loves. It folds it back into the pattern until it becomes music again. And as the night stretches wide and the air settles, you can almost feel the same loop around you. The breath you take now is the breath of ages, drawn by countless lives before yours. The memory that never lets go is not a burden. It is a cradle, holding everything that has ever been and everything still waiting to begin. In every quiet mind drifts a single question. If you could return to the past, would you change it? The thought begins gently, like a ripple through calm water, yet beneath it lies an ocean of consequence. To alter what has been is to touch the foundation of everything that followed. Physicists treat it as a paradox of logic. Philosophers treat it as a test of morality. Both agree that even a good intention can unravel the symmetry that holds the world together. The thought experiment most often spoken of is simple. What if someone could travel back in time to prevent a great tragedy, to stop a war, or silence a tyrant before his rise? The idea feels righteous at first, almost compassionate. Yet, in the framework of cause and effect, every act creates a network of reactions, and removing one node can collapse the entire pattern. A single life, however cruel, threads through millions of others. To erase it is to pull at the weave of history itself. Scientists call this the grandfather paradox, reborn as an ethical mirror. If the traveler succeeds, the motive for traveling vanishes. If they fail, the loop closes and the event remains unchanged. But there is a subtler question hidden inside. Can a universe that preserves consistency allow the erasure of what already exists? The laws of causality suggest no. The past is not a page waiting to be rewritten. It is the ink already dried, the letters already pressed into the paper of spacetime. In this sense, the paradox becomes a reflection of human desire rather than of physics. To wish to undo pain is deeply human, but the universe offers no clean eraser. Every change, however small, births new consequences. The absence of a tyrant might prevent a war, but it might also erase the compassion that war inspired or the unity that rose from ruin. History is cruel, but it is complete. To shift it is to risk unmaking the meaning that emerged from its suffering. There is a cold beauty in that understanding. The past holds its place not because it is sacred, but because it is stable. Like ice, it preserves everything that has touched it, even the darkness. The future, warmer and more fragile, flows above it, molded by the weight below. The traveler who dreams of undoing harm may find that the act of trying creates the very shape of the harm itself. A loop not of malice, but of intention returned. And perhaps that is the lesson folded within this paradox. Power without humility is chaos, and even mercy must bow to balance. Time, indifferent and precise, lets us remember but not rearrange. The thought of changing the past lingers, soft yet impossible, reminding us that kindness, to endure, must exist in the present moment, not in what has already turned to light and vanished into memory. Somewhere within the quiet corridors of time, an idea turns upon itself. A traveler moves backward, not out of malice, but of purpose. A wish to undo what once was. Yet in the stillness of cause and effect, intention is not a thread that can be cleanly pulled. Every motive is tied to the event it seeks to change, and in removing one, the other unravels. This is known among physicists as a self-annihilating paradox. When the reason for an action dissolves the moment it succeeds. Imagine a traveler whose mission is born from a tragedy. If they return to the moment before it happened and prevent it, their pain, the very fuel that propelled them through time, disappears. Without that loss, there is no reason to travel, and without the journey, the tragedy remains. The universe, seeking balance, closes the circle so that both cannot exist independently. Cause folds into consequence, and the motive that sought to alter time quietly erases itself. The logic is elegant, almost tender. The cosmos does not rage against contradiction, it simply softens it away. Each attempt to rewrite the story becomes part of the story itself. What looks like rebellion is absorbed as harmony, a note resolving into the chord that birthed it. In this way, time is less a chain and more a melody that corrects its own dissonance. The traveler's act, rather than breaking history, completes it. Their struggle already written into the music they wish to change. For humans, this paradox feels painfully familiar. We are creatures of intention, born from reasons we often try to escape. A person vows never to repeat a mistake, and in doing so, lives a life defined by that mistake. The will to become different is tied to the very thing it seeks to leave behind. The loop of intention is not just theoretical, it is emotional, woven through memory and choice. Every regret, every promise, every hope is a circle turning slowly in the mind. There is a quiet emptiness in that realization, but it is not cruel. It suggests that perhaps freedom is not found in rewriting the past, but in accepting its loops, in understanding that purpose and outcome pain and peace are reflections of the same motion. The more we try to cut them apart, the more tightly they bind. As night deepens, the traveler fades into the pattern they could never escape, and the air grows still again. Time breathes in its slow rhythm, patient and complete. Intention folds into silence, and silence into understanding. The loop does not end. It simply becomes invisible, like a thought that has finally run out of need. Time does not move like an arrow. It moves like water. It bends around obstacles, slows against resistance, gathers in quiet pools, and flows again. Physicists describe this as non-linear time, a system that allows motion, distortion, and delay, but not reversal. Once a ripple has passed, it cannot return to its precise form. It can only echo, spread, and fade into stillness. In the language of science, space-time itself is elastic. It stretches when mass and energy shift, curving around gravity the way a current curls around a rock. Every planet, every breath, every heartbeat leaves a faint tremor in that field. Not enough to break it, only enough to remind it that something has moved. This makes history less like a written line and more like a surface that remembers each touch. We do not erase what has been. We disturb it, we blend into it, and eventually we become part of its calm. To imagine history as water is to understand that nothing within it is static. The rise and fall of empires, the flicker of thought, the smallest act of kindness, all are waves traveling outward. Each intersects with another, reshaping the pattern until the surface smooths again. Change exists, but only forward, only through transformation. Even destruction becomes part of renewal, absorbed by the flow that carries everything downstream. For humans, this vision of time offers both humility and release. Every choice ripples through unseen layers, yet none lasts forever. The harm we cause, the love we share, the memories we cling to, all sink eventually into the same vast body. To live, then, is to touch the surface gently, knowing that stillness will return. The past does not need correction. It only needs to be understood as motion that has settled. The traveler who once fought to rewrite events might look back and see only currents merging. What seemed fixed was never solid, only momentary turbulence. Even regret becomes soft when viewed this way. The wave that once rose in anger or sorrow now stretches thin and disappears into the larger sea. What remains is continuity, not control. The beauty of non-linear time is in its forgiveness. Water never resents the stone that diverts it. It simply finds another path. So too does history. Its shape is made by resistance, by the meeting of force and patience. To try to reverse it would be like asking a river to climb a mountain. Possible in thought, but meaningless in the language of nature. As the night cools, the air feels slower, like a tide at rest. The surface of time lies smooth again, reflecting the dim light of distant stars. Somewhere, every ripple still exists, faint but unbroken, hidden beneath the calm. History breathes like water, flowing, remembering, and always returning to silence. Some stories about time do not begin with scientists or machines, but with children, curious, well-meaning, and unaware that every choice they make might bend the world in quiet ways. Imagine a simple scene. Two friends who learn that someone dear to them has been taken away. Out of love and fear, they decide to travel into the past to prevent the loss. They believe that if they can reach the moment before the danger, they can protect what matters most. But time has its own sense of humor, subtle and calm. In their rush to save, the friends act too soon. They hide their companion to keep him safe, and in doing so, become the very cause of the disappearance they were trying to stop. The circle closes gently. Their rescue is the reason there was ever something to rescue. In physics, this is called a self-fulfilling paradox, a loop where the outcome is inseparable from the intention that created it. Scientists use thought experiments like this to describe how the universe might preserve consistency even when actions appear to contradict themselves. The past does not resist our attempts to change it. It absorbs them. Every effort to alter an event becomes part of the event's own design. The loop, therefore, is not a trap, but a reconciliation. Cause and effect folding into each other until they are impossible to tell apart. What makes this kind of paradox so quietly human is its resemblance to the way we live. Many of our best intentions ripple into outcomes we never expected. A parent tries to protect a child from pain and ends up teaching fear. A friend hides the truth to keep another from sadness, and in doing so, builds the very distance they wanted to prevent. The pattern is not punishment, only symmetry. The universe, like time itself, prefers completion. To see this clearly is to find peace within contradiction. Every act of care carries the risk of misunderstanding, yet it also carries warmth, a trace of something pure that time will not erase. The loop, once recognized, feels less like failure and more like music repeating its final note. It teaches that what we do out of love cannot be wrong. It simply finds its own form in the larger rhythm of things. As the night deepens, the story quiets. The friends fade into the soft hum of the world they never meant to change. The one they sought to protect sleeps safely, as if nothing ever happened. And perhaps that is true. Nothing was broken, only folded. The past and the future lie together like overlapping pages, both written in the same gentle ink. In their stillness, the paradox settles, not as confusion, but as comfort. A reminder that kindness, even when misplaced, still finds its way home. Time, when viewed from a distance, behaves less like a straight path and more like a mirror. Every event that seems to vanish continues to echo, shaping what follows without ever being rewritten. This quiet symmetry is known in physics as self-consistency, a principle that suggests the universe allows no contradictions within itself. Whatever happens is, by its nature, the only thing that could have happened. The past, therefore, is not an open field waiting for correction, but a reflection already complete. According to this principle, if a traveler were to move through time, every step they take would already belong to the history they remember. They might try to change an event, but their presence in that moment was always part of how the event unfolded. The universe does not resist interference, it simply absorbs it. Each action ripples across the surface of space-time and folds back into coherence, the way a lake settles after being touched by a single drop. No paradox survives, because paradox itself cannot exist where the pattern is whole. This idea may sound rigid, yet there is something merciful in its precision. The self-consistency of time means that every mistake, every joy, every silence already holds its rightful place. It cannot be undone, but it also cannot be lost. The universe keeps no record of failure, only of participation. Even regret, when seen from far enough away, looks like part of a larger harmony. a bend in the mirror that catches light from another angle. To understand time this way is to realize that the wish to repair it is a form of misunderstanding. We cannot edit what has already been written. We can only read it more deeply. The past does not need correction. It needs recognition. It asks not for us to erase, but to listen, to see how our choices, even the ones we wish undone, have already been woven into the shape of who we are. Humans, unlike the traveler, live within this reflection constantly. Every memory is a glimpse of the universe remembering itself through us. When we recall, we do not return to the moment. We rebuild it through light and feeling, reshaping its edges until it becomes soft enough to hold. In doing so, we do not alter time. We understand it. The beauty of this truth lies in its stillness. Time does not need fixing because it never broke. The reflections it offers may distort, but they never deceive. To live, then, is to look gently into that mirror and see not what should have been, but what already is, intricate, balanced, unrepeatable. As the night settles, the reflection deepens. What was once a surface becomes an ocean, calm and infinite. Time, silent and self-contained, does not ask to be changed. It only asks to be seen. Every motion in the universe seeks balance, and the human heart is no different. It moves through cycles of intention and consequence, learning by touch, adjusting by feeling. Physicists might call it a loop of feedback, an echo that returns to its source until the system finds peace. In emotion, this becomes something gentler, the rhythm of making mistakes, realizing them, and healing through understanding. Like time itself, the heart learns not through erasure, but through reflection. Each act of kindness begins as a spark, fragile, pure, and incomplete. It moves outward, meeting the resistance of misunderstanding, sometimes bending into forms that were never meant to harm, but still do. Yet even then, that spark remains. Energy, science reminds us, cannot be destroyed. It only changes state. So it is with goodwill. When an act of care goes astray, it does not vanish. It disperses into quiet lessons, into empathy carried forward. Every gentle thought finds its way back, reshaped but alive. Across the long span of time, emotion behaves like light passing through clouds. It bends, it softens, it scatters, but its warmth persists. The person who once hurt another out of fear may one day learn compassion from that pain. The friend who left may return in a different form, a memory, a gesture, a fragment of understanding that lingers. This is how the universe repairs itself, not by undoing, but by transforming. The self-correcting nature of the cosmos extends inward. The heart, though fragile, is a closed loop of intention. It gives, receives, breaks, and rebuilds. When we act with kindness, even imperfectly, we set a wave in motion that cannot be recalled. Somewhere, someone feels it, perhaps long after we have forgotten, and when it comes back, it may not look the same, but it arrives with a quiet familiarity, as if the universe were returning our own gentleness in disguise. There is solace in knowing that goodness, once released, continues to move through time. The errors we make are folded into that motion, teaching patience, humility, and depth. The light we send may take years to return, but it always does. The universe does not waste kindness. It recycles it, weaving it into future moments when someone else will need it most. As the world slows into night, the loop closes softly. Every sorrow that once felt final becomes part of a greater rhythm. The heart beats, hesitates, forgives, and beats again. It learns again and again how to mean well. And even when words fail or intentions drift astray, something luminous remains, a faint glow in the dark, proof that care once given never leaves. It only travels endlessly until it finds its way home. Far beyond the still surface of what we can see, the universe holds corridors we can only imagine. Tunnels where time bends inward and meets itself. Physicists call them wormholes, narrow bridges through space-time where distance and duration twist into a single curve. In theory, a traveler could move through such a passage and emerge before they had even begun. The idea seems playful, but it carries one of the most delicate puzzles in physics, known as Polchinski's paradox. Imagine for a moment a small ball rolling toward the mouth of a wormhole. On the other side, that same ball emerges a moment earlier, looping back through time. If the younger version is struck by the older one, a collision that deflects its path, the paradox begins. If the impact changes its direction enough to prevent it from entering the wormhole in the first place, then where did the second ball come from? The event seems to cancel itself, a riddle wrapped inside its own motion. Physicists proposed that nature might solve this elegantly through the same self-consistency that governs all paradoxes. In this scenario, the ball does not collide in contradiction. It collides precisely in the way required to send itself into the wormhole, preserving the loop. Every motion becomes both cause and effect, seamless, circular, complete. The laws of physics, so strict and mathematical, reveal a strange gentleness here, the ability to adjust, to correct, to speak to themselves in whispers rather than shouts. At a deeper level, Polchinski's thought experiment suggests that reality may be self-aware in its structure, not in consciousness, but in harmony. Every particle responding to every other, as though space-time itself remembers where each piece belongs. The ball is not rebelling against the universe. It is participating in its conversation. Each push and rebound becomes a sentence in the language of balance. For us, the image is strangely human. We, too, meet versions of ourselves in small collisions. A choice that echoes an earlier mistake, a thought that interrupts another. Sometimes, the force that turns us aside comes not from others, but from the future we are already shaping. Like the ball, we move in circles we do not fully see, adjusting until our path aligns with what was always meant to happen. The paradox then becomes less of a riddle and more of a reflection. Perhaps the universe does not fear contradiction because it has learned how to listen. Every motion that seems disruptive eventually finds the curve that leads it home. The ball meets its past not to destroy it, but to complete it, to trace the loop that allows both to exist at once. And so, in the deep quiet of space-time, even impact is a kind of communication. The ball rolls, turns, meets itself, and continues. The echo fades, the motion remains, and time, like a calm tide, folds softly back into itself, as though the universe were nodding in understanding. In the still architecture of the universe, every motion has an answer, every force a return. Nothing stands alone for long. Physicists call this quiet order universal consistency, the idea that the laws of nature weave all things together so no event can escape balance. Gravity pulls, inertia resists, light bends, matter responds. Even chaos, in its most violent form, is only equilibrium trying to remember itself. The universe does not shout this truth. It hums it softly beneath everything we see. From the smallest atom to the largest cluster of galaxies, consistency governs motion. When a star collapses, its death creates the elements that will one day build new suns. When energy is released, it does not vanish but disperses, carried into waves and warmth. Each transformation is part of the same unbroken conversation, an exchange that keeps existence from falling apart. The numbers and equations that scientists write are not rules imposed from outside, but translations of that whisper. The world explaining patiently how it stays whole. This harmony extends beyond physics into the rhythm of life itself. The same laws that bind particles guide seasons, oceans, and breath. A storm forms not to destroy, but to move energy from one state to another. A forest burns so that light can reach the ground again. To the eye of fear, these changes look like disorder. To the universe, they are balance restoring itself, the silence shifting its shape. What we call chaos is only structure we have not yet learned to hear. Even within human motion, the whisper continues. Every action echoes through other lives, bending until it finds equilibrium. A harsh word may ripple for years before kindness cancels its weight. Loss can hollow the heart only until compassion fills it again. The physics of emotion follow the same law. Nothing stays unbalanced forever. What hurts becomes teaching. What ends becomes beginning. Consistency is not correction by force. It is gentleness returning. To think of the universe this way is to feel it breathe. Every flicker of light, every vibration of air is a sign that the pattern is holding. The stars do not compete. They coordinate. The waves do not argue with the wind. They translate it. Even entropy, the slow drift toward disorder, is part of the balance, a measure of energy seeking stillness in new forms. The cosmos maintains itself not through rigidity, but through patience. And if you listen closely, you can sense that same whisper within you. The heartbeat that steadies after a moment of fear, the thought that clears after confusion. They are echoes of that universal rhythm. The universe stays consistent because it knows no other way. What we mistake for chaos is simply balance unfolding, too vast to see all at once. And as it unfolds, softly, endlessly, it reminds us that peace is not the absence of motion, but the perfection of it. Every system in nature seeks balance, not as a destination, but as a continuous act of becoming. From the swirl of galaxies to the pulse of atoms, equilibrium is never still. It shifts, adjusts, and breathes. Physicists describe this as self-regulation. The universe's quiet way of correcting its own imbalance without instruction or intention. When one side tips too far, the other leans back. Energy flows until difference softens into harmony, a process so subtle that it feels like silence. The same principle threads through life itself. A planet warms and releases storms to scatter heat. A forest loses trees and finds renewal in light. A heart breaks, then mends by learning tenderness. Every motion that seems like chaos is an alignment in disguise. Even entropy, the tendency toward disorder, carries its own kind of symmetry. It reminds us that stillness is not perfection, but pause, and that the cosmos does not fear change because it is change, endlessly folding balance into motion. The equations that describe matter reflect this a deeper rhythm. Newton's third law, for every action, an equal and opposite reaction, speaks not of conflict, but of conversation. Quantum systems oscillate between states, particles exchanging energy until uncertainty finds form. Gravity, magnetism, light, each plays its part in a vast choreography of give and return. What we call laws of physics are simply the ways the universe remembers fairness. Human lives move within that same pattern. A breath taken gives way to an exhale. Exhaustion invites rest. Joy follows sorrow, not to erase it, but to complete it. Balance is not a scale to maintain, but a movement to join. To resist this flow is to mistake peace for stillness. True calm lives in motion, in the acceptance that rise and fall, gain and loss, are two halves of the same wave. The ocean does not apologize for its tides. It simply continues, knowing that the shore will always meet it again. There is a kind of wisdom in understanding this balance beyond logic. It asks nothing heroic, only awareness that the same physics which keeps the stars from collapsing also steadies the human heart. Every imbalance carries within it the seed of its own correction. The universe does not punish nor reward. It adjusts. And in its adjustments, it teaches that harmony is not found by stopping movement, but by moving with intention, gently toward center. As night deepens, the air grows slow, the world poised between motion and rest. Somewhere, unseen, the galaxies continue their slow dialogue of forces, each orbit a quiet bow toward balance. Within that grand equilibrium, every breath, every thought, every pause is a reflection of the same truth, that to exist is to sway, to rise, to fall, and through all of it, to remain whole. Somewhere between imagination and history, there is a quiet riddle about creation itself. It begins not with a machine or a scientist, but with a traveler, an admirer of words. He journeys backward through time, carrying a collection of plays written by the man he considers the greatest writer who ever lived, William Shakespeare. His intention is simple and tender. He wishes only to meet his idol, to have those pages signed, to feel for a moment that art can bridge centuries. But when he arrives in Elizabethan London, the streets do not know the name Shakespeare. No plays have been performed, no sonnets whispered in taverns, no writer by that name exists. The traveler searches, certain that history must be mistaken. In confusion, he publishes the plays himself, using the name that should have belonged to another. The words take root in the world, performed, celebrated, remembered. And then, slowly, a thought begins to shimmer like a reflection. If he was the first to print them, who wrote them in the first place? This is what physicists call the Bootstrap paradox, a loop of information without origin. A thing exists, a book, an idea, a melody, yet its creator cannot be found because its existence created itself. The future gives birth to the past, and the past sustains the future, locked in a circle so seamless that cause and effect dissolve into one another. In the equations of time, there is no contradiction, only recursion, a mirror reflecting a mirror until the image becomes infinite. To think of it another way, the paradox asks where knowledge begins. Perhaps there is no single moment of invention, only moments of recognition. Thoughts discovered rather than made. The human mind, too, works this way. A spark of insight feels new, yet it comes from the vast accumulation of memory, learning, and unseen patterns shaped long before we were aware of them. Every idea is both origin and echo, arriving from a place we cannot name. There is a certain peace in this uncertainty. The traveler's confusion becomes the world's inheritance. Whether or not Shakespeare ever existed, the words exist. They breathe. They move through time. They become part of us. The paradox, instead of breaking reason, reveals something beautiful. That creation itself might be timeless. That stories, once told, may never need a beginning. In the soft hum of the universe, information behaves like light, bending, folding, returning, never truly lost. A thought written in one age may inspire another that travels back to rewrite the first. The circle is not a trap, but a testament to continuity. What matters is not where the words began, but that they continue to be spoken. And in that endless exchange, both writer and reader, past and future, find their reflection, a single story that keeps itself alive. In physics, there is a notion as haunting as it is elegant: the information loop. It suggests that data, energy, or thought may exist without an identifiable beginning, caught in an eternal exchange between cause and consequence. A message sent from the future could inspire the very event that sends it. A design might exist not because it was made, but because it was remembered. To the universe, this poses no contradiction. It is only us, bound by the idea of before and after, who find such symmetry unsettling. Information is the universe's memory. Every particle carries its own record, each vibration a trace of what once was. When a photon reflects off a surface, it transfers its story, its angle, its energy, its color, and in doing so, passes knowledge forward. But where does that first spark of knowing arise? The information loop answers quietly: nowhere, or perhaps everywhere. The act of transmission is itself the origin. What exists does so because it has already echoed. In this sense, creation becomes a mirror, not a forge. Every invention, every idea, every line of poetry is a reflection, a rearrangement of what already existed in another form. When we compose music, we are not creating sound from silence. We are tuning into patterns that were waiting to be heard. When we dream, our minds replay fragments of light and memory, weaving them into something that feels new. The loop is not theft, but communion, a reminder that nothing in the universe stands alone. This idea stretches beyond science and into the soul. Perhaps every act of creation, painting, writing, loving, is an act of remembering. Somewhere deep within the structure of space-time, information hums like a pulse, and consciousness listens, translating vibration into meaning. The artist becomes a mirror, reflecting the universe's desire to know itself. In that reflection, there is no "I made this," only "I heard this and passed it on." To live inside such a loop is not to be trapped, but to be connected. It frees creation from the burden of authorship. What matters is not who began, but that the cycle continues. Light reflecting light, thought birthing thought. The physicist studying cosmic radiation and the poet watching the sea share the same intimacy with this echo. Both are interpreters of signals that never had a first transmission. And when you look closely, you can feel it, the faint shimmer of continuity that holds everything together. From the patterns of galaxies to the words you whisper before sleep, all of it is part of one vast exchange. The mirror of creation does not show beginnings or endings, only movement, an endless play of reflections, each one illuminating another. In that dance, there is peace. Nothing is lost. Everything is seen. In both physics and philosophy, the idea of an absolute beginning begins to dissolve the closer one looks. The universe, according to what we know, does not emerge from nothing. It transforms from one state to another. Energy changes form, information rearranges itself, and what appears as a birth is merely a continuation. The principle of no true origin suggests that there is no single first cause, only an infinite chain of transformation stretching in both directions through time. Even the Big Bang, often imagined as a starting gun, may only have been the rebound of something that existed before. In the language of science, conservation laws whisper this truth. Energy cannot be created or destroyed, only exchanged. Matter becomes light, light becomes motion, motion becomes heat, and heat fades into new potential. Nothing vanishes, nothing truly begins. The cosmos recycles itself endlessly, an unbroken conversation across billions of years. What we call beginnings are simply the points where our awareness happens to wake up, the frame where we first open our eyes and call the moment now. Philosophy mirrors this insight with quiet acceptance. The question, where did it start, is perhaps the wrong question. What matters is not the first spark, but the continuity that allows sparks to keep existing. Every sunrise feels like a beginning, yet it is only the earth turning, a rotation that has never stopped. Every heartbeat feels like renewal, yet it carries the rhythm of those before us, encoded in the same cells, the same dust that once belonged to stars. The illusion of origin comforts us because it gives shape to mystery. But the deeper comfort lies in knowing that nothing is ever lost. To live within this understanding is to soften one's grip on the need for certainty. If there is no first word, no first cause, then every moment becomes equally sacred. The beginning of love, of thought, of creation, they are not separate events, but reflections of the same current flowing through time. Even death, in this view, is not an end but a release, energy changing costume, information finding another vessel. The self does not vanish, it diffuses into the continuity it came from. In this endless flow, peace arises not from knowing the source, but from feeling the motion. The cosmos does not pause to define its start. It continues, patient and complete. Like waves upon waves, each crest carries the memory of the one before. The first ripple is gone, yet its pattern endures, printed into every movement that follows. So when we speak of origin, what we truly mean is awareness. The moment we become part of the ongoing story, we are not witnesses to the beginning. We are participants in its continuation. Somewhere, far beyond our sense of time, the universe keeps transforming, endlessly beginning, endlessly returning. And in that quiet infinity, the illusion of origin dissolves, leaving only what has always been, a stillness that never needed to start. In the smallest architecture of the universe, nothing is ever truly gone. Physics calls this the principle of quantum information conservation, the belief that every particle, no matter how changed, still carries the imprint of what it once was. When a thing burns, crumbles, dissolves, or fades, its essence is not destroyed. It simply rearranges. The atoms that once formed a leaf, a sound, or a thought scatter into new patterns, holding quiet memory within their spin, their charge, their vibration. To the universe, transformation is not loss. It is remembrance. In quantum theory, this idea is more than poetry. When matter interacts, it leaves behind correlations. subtle fingerprints written into the wave functions that describe reality. These patterns persist even when the original form has vanished from sight. Burn a piece of paper, and what remains is ash, smoke, heat, and light. Yet all the information that defined it still exists, diffused across particles and radiation. The universe never forgets. It only distributes memory so finely that we can no longer read it. This principle is comforting in its symmetry. The stars that died billions of years ago are not absent. Their atoms are in our lungs, their light still traveling toward us through the dark. The water that runs through rivers once coursed through comets, through clouds, through the breath of ancient forests. The body itself is a library of borrowed matter, constantly renewed, never destroyed. Every heartbeat releases molecules that were once part of mountains and seas. We are, in every sense, made of memory. Yet there is something deeper than science in this truth. If every particle carries the trace of what it once touched, then the universe is not a place of endings, but of continuation. Grief softens under that knowledge. What disappears from sight does not leave the story. It only changes chapter. The same carbon that built the warmth of one life will someday fuel the glow of another. What once was solid becomes wave, and what once was wave will again take form. To imagine this is to feel the quiet intelligence of existence, a cycle that wastes nothing, that loses nothing. Even in decay, there is precision. Even in silence, there is record. The world remembers itself through motion, through exchange. The whisper of a breeze, the flicker of a flame, the shimmer of dust in morning light. All are fragments of ancient memory returning to speak in new voices. As night deepens, that continuity becomes easier to sense. The air you breathe carries atoms that once drifted in the cores of stars. The warmth that leaves your skin joins the cosmic background, a faint murmur in the symphony of time. Nothing is lost, not even you. Everything that ever was still exists somewhere, changed in form, still telling its story. And the universe, patient and infinite, listens. When a flame consumes a page, the eye sees disappearance, white paper turning black, curling, falling into dust. Yet to physics, nothing has been lost. Every atom that built the paper still exists. It has simply shifted its arrangement, its place, its temperature. The carbon bonds that once held letters and meaning release into air as gas, into light as heat, into motion as energy. The universe does not forget. It only translates. Scientists describe this through the law of conservation of information, a quiet certainty hidden beneath the violence of transformation. In theory, if one could measure every particle of ash, every flicker of flame, every photon escaping into the air, the original paper could be reconstructed entirely, not as an object, but as a map of what it was. The fire does not erase, it records in another language. What looks like destruction is only reorganization. To the mind, this seems paradoxical. How can something so final still contain what it destroyed? But the answer lies in perspective. The human eye reads loss. The universe reads motion. Energy leaving as light, molecules rising as smoke, atoms settling as ash. Each is a continuation of the same event, expressed in different forms. The story of the page is not ended by the fire. It is extended into the air, whispered into warmth, carried by the wind. This principle reaches beyond the laboratory. Every heartbreak, every farewell, every seeming end carries the same hidden pattern. Emotion, like matter, does not vanish. It changes density, moves elsewhere, reshapes itself into memory. The love that once lived in a voice may live again as kindness or silence or the stillness that follows understanding. The human spirit mirrors the same conservation. We turn our endings into light even when we do not see the glow. Fire, then, is not an enemy of existence, but a reminder of its resilience. It shows how the universe renews itself, taking what seems gone and weaving it back into the world. The paper's message, its ink, its meaning, all of it continues as particles that touch clouds, soil, lungs, stars. Each spark becomes a traveler, carrying fragments of memory to places we will never see. Destruction is only motion disguised as loss. In the calm after flame, the truth becomes clear. The smoke disperses, but the heat lingers in the air. The ashes settle, but their story remains written in atoms. The universe keeps no graveyard, only circulation. Every ending is a translation, every silence an echo of what was. Even the smallest spark knows how to remember. And so the fire fades, leaving the night intact. Its warmth drifts outward, absorbed by the dark, joining the gentle hum of everything that ever was. The page is gone, yet its story continues, spread thin, invisible, eternal, carried quietly through the breathing universe. In the quiet mathematics of the universe, disappearance is only illusion. Physics teaches that information, the very pattern that defines matter and motion, cannot be destroyed. Every atom, every photon, every vibration of thought continues somewhere, altered in shape but not in essence. What we call endings are simply transitions, the rearrangement of form within an unbroken whole. Even death, viewed through this lens, is not erasure but exchange, a release of structure back into the vast memory of existence. When a living being ceases to breathe, the atoms that once formed heart and mind do not vanish. They dissolve gently into air, soil, and light, merging with other systems, other rhythms. Carbon becomes leaf, oxygen becomes flame, calcium becomes stone. The information that shaped a human life continues to echo in warmth, in gravity, in the faint tremor of particles shifting position. To the universe, a body is a temporary constellation, beautiful because it cannot last, meaningful because it always returns. Quantum physics suggests that even at the smallest scale, nothing can fall completely into silence. Every event leaves a trace, a wave pattern, a correlation, a change in probability that ripples outward forever. The cosmos, in its patience, keeps record without effort. Every gesture, every heartbeat, every word spoken into air alters reality, however softly. The world listens and remembers in ways beyond our comprehension. And when this understanding enters philosophy, it becomes more than science. It becomes comfort. To know that nothing is lost is to live without fear of vanishing. The people we love, the moments we cherish, do not fall into emptiness when they end. They disperse into the same vast network that gave them shape. Energy continues as warmth in the world. Memory becomes part of the great continuity of matter. What was once I becomes we, then everything. Perhaps this is why the universe feels so peaceful in its silence. It does not mourn what changes, it embraces it. The stars collapse only to scatter new elements. Oceans evaporate to become rain. Every loss is already the beginning of something else. The rhythm of existence is circular, not cruel. a slow breathing in and out of being. In this light, death itself becomes less of a wall and more of a door. The rhythm does not stop. It shifts. Consciousness may dissolve, but the pattern it created, the way it moved atoms, shaped warmth, sent ripples through others, remains. We are not erased from the cosmos. We are redistributed. As the night deepens, this truth feels like a lullaby. You are made of particles that have never been lost, only rearranged since the dawn of time. You have been stardust, ocean spray, whisper, thought, and one day you will be again. Nothing is gone. Everything only changes its rhythm. The universe exhales, and within that breath, you continue, quiet, infinite, remembered. Far beyond the calm glow of ordinary stars, space folds into a silence so deep that even light cannot escape. This is the event horizon, the boundary that marks the point of no return around a black hole. Beyond it, gravity becomes so intense that space-time itself bends inward, pulling everything toward a single point called the singularity. It is not a surface one can touch, but a threshold in the geometry of existence, where motion and meaning blur together. From a distance, it looks like nothing more than darkness, a hole in the fabric of the cosmos. But within that darkness, the universe is still humming. The physics is as haunting as it is precise. According to Einstein's theory of general relativity, gravity is not a force pulling objects downward, but the curvature of space-time caused by mass. The more massive the object, the more it bends the grid around it. A black hole is the ultimate expression of that curvature. A collapse so extreme that space turns inward, creating a well no light can climb out of. Photons, which usually travel in straight lines, now follow arcs so tightly curved that they spiral endlessly, fading into stillness. To an outside observer, time at the edge seems to slow, frozen in perpetual descent. Yet the story is not one of disappearance. Light does not die within a black hole. It continues unseen, its energy woven into the structure of the singularity. Matter falling inward does not fall into nothing, but into density, an unimaginable compression of information. The universe, even here, obeys its own rule. Nothing is lost. What crosses the horizon becomes part of a greater silence, one that stores everything it consumes. To physicists, this raises questions about how information survives. To poets, it sounds like a promise that even in darkness, memory remains. Seen this way, the event horizon is not an ending, but a veil. It separates what can be known from what must be imagined. On one side, light travels freely, illuminating galaxies. On the other, it rests, folded into the black fabric of gravity's embrace. The boundary itself glows faintly, a ring of captured photons circling endlessly, neither escaping nor falling, suspended in eternal tension. The edge of no return is not void, but balance. And if one listens beyond the equations, there is a strange serenity in that image. The black hole is not a monster devouring the universe. It is a keeper of its most secret memories. Every star that falls into it becomes part of its stillness, every beam of light a breath drawn inward. The cosmos does not destroy, it transforms. Somewhere beyond the reach of sight, that hidden horizon waits, patient and quiet. Around it, stars orbit like candle flames, trembling on the edge of wind. The light that cannot escape does not vanish. It only rests, gathering in the dark, waiting for a new form of dawn. For a long time, black holes were thought to be eternal. silent anchors of gravity that swallowed everything and gave nothing back. Yet, in 1974, Stephen Hawking introduced a quiet correction to that image. Through the strange laws of quantum mechanics, he showed that black holes are not perfectly black. They glow faintly, releasing a soft stream of energy known as Hawking radiation. This emission, invisible to our eyes yet present in theory, means that even the darkest objects in the universe slowly fade. Over unimaginable stretches of time, a black hole can evaporate completely, returning its borrowed energy to the cosmos. The explanation is subtle, unfolding at the boundary where gravity and quantum theory meet. Near the event horizon, the vacuum of space is not empty, but alive with pairs of virtual particles, one matter, one antimatter, flickering into existence for fractions of a second. Normally, they annihilate each other instantly. But when this happens near a black hole, gravity can pull one particle inward while the other escapes. The particle that escapes becomes radiation, carrying away a trace of the black hole's energy. To preserve balance, the black hole loses mass, shrinking imperceptibly as it exhales into the universe. This slow, delicate process is less an explosion than a sigh. The universe's way of keeping its promise that nothing remains forever still. The black hole, once thought to be an endpoint, becomes instead a participant in the cycle of exchange. What it consumed across eons, it now returns, not in form, but in essence. Its final act is generosity, not destruction. Hawking's insight transformed darkness from a devourer into a giver, revealing that even the most silent forces of nature eventually speak. There is quiet poetry in that physics. The idea that something so absolute, so consuming, can end not with collapse but with release, touches something deeply human. We too hold things tightly, grief, memory, fear, until they dissolve, becoming warmth for someone else. The black hole mirrors that surrender. Its radiation is not loss, but transference. What falls inward eventually flows outward, dispersed through the fabric of space-time like breath returning to air. In the vast scale of the cosmos, this whisper of radiation is almost nothing. Faint, slow, impossible to feel. Yet its existence reminds us that even the universe practices impermanence. Nothing, no matter how powerful, escapes the rhythm of giving back. The stars die, the galaxies fade, and the great engines of gravity themselves learn how to let go. As the black hole exhales, its edges soften, its silence deepens. The energy it releases will travel across eternity, warming dust, seeding stars, stirring new worlds to life. Hawking's whisper becomes the universe's lullaby, a promise that even endings contain continuity, that even darkness knows how to return what it has taken. And somewhere, far beyond the reach of time, the last echo of that whisper drifts through the cold, carrying the memory of everything that once was. At the heart of every black hole lies a question that has puzzled physicists for decades. When something falls beyond the event horizon, where does its information go? According to the laws of quantum mechanics, information, the detailed blueprint of what a thing is, can never be destroyed. Yet the gravity of a black hole seems to erase it completely. This contradiction, known as the black hole information paradox, is less a problem of numbers and more a meditation on memory itself. Can the universe, vast and ancient, ever truly forget? Many scientists believe it cannot. They suggest that even as matter collapses into a singularity, the quantum information that once defined it lingers in some form. encoded on the horizon's surface, scattered in the radiation that escapes, or woven subtly into the geometry of space-time. The black hole, then, is not an eraser, but a keeper of secrets, compressing knowledge so densely that it becomes unreadable to us, like a dreamer in deep sleep. It holds everything quietly within, neither gone nor awake, waiting for its turn to rejoin the light. To think of it this way changes the nature of darkness. The black hole becomes less a void and more a resting place, a pause in the universe's breath. Information does not vanish. It sinks into silence, preserved in ways that exceed understanding. Just as the mind retains impressions from forgotten dreams, the cosmos carries every pattern, every echo, every gesture that ever existed. The stars that collapse into night are not lost. They are stored, rephrased in gravity's slow language. This idea mirrors something deeply human. Memory, too, never fully disappears. Faces fade, words dissolve, but traces remain. The way light lingers behind closed eyes, or warmth stays in a room after someone leaves. We are built from the same material as the cosmos, and perhaps we remember in the same way. Not perfectly, but perpetually. The universe, through us, keeps track of itself, folding experience into awareness, loss into continuation. The paradox, then, is not a contradiction, but a revelation. What seems like oblivion is preservation in disguise. Every fall into darkness is followed by release. Every silence a rehearsal for renewal. The black hole does not break the rule of conservation. It deepens it, showing that even absence can be full of meaning. In the quiet reaches of space-time, the universe listens to its own heartbeat. It remembers everything, every collapse, every flare of light, every whisper of thought. The memory is not kept in one place, but everywhere, encoded in gravity, in radiation, in us. And as it remembers, it rests. The black hole sleeps, the stars hum, and time folds softly around the pulse of all that has ever been. What the universe forgets, it dreams again. If your thoughts are still wandering, that's all right. The universe has always had room for dreamers, for those who drift softly between what is known and what might be. Somewhere above you, starlight continues its long journey, traveling quietly through cold space, patient as a breath. The same light that touched the first oceans still moves tonight, crossing the dark to find you here. Every inhale you take is part of that same rhythm. Air once held by trees, by clouds, by distant stars that lived and ended long before you. The cosmos and your body are breathing together, exchanging warmth, memory, and silence. Nothing here is separate. Everything hums in unison. What we have shared tonight is not a lesson, but a pause. A small moment to listen to the universe, remembering itself. Thank you for being here, for letting me drift beside you in the quiet. May your rest be deep, your dreams gentle, and your heartbeat steady with the rhythm of the stars.